Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends for the premium battleship, the Atlantico, and the build and play guide for this ship. We are going to talk a lot about this ship in the match and how much fun it is. And I think a lot of people would agree with me, even though I'm not a secondary guy. But when it comes to this ship, I 100% am. So, we will talk about the build first. We'll talk about the ship more in the match. For your build, if you have Enrique Fernandez, you're definitely going to want to use them. If you don't, um, you can use Pedro Lima Santos, the default commander. This thing is not going to be. Um, this is not going to be the ideal setup for it, and you're not going to get the greatest out of it. Obviously, it's a Dewey commander, a general commander. But if you do use this, you probably want to take the AA no-fly zone. You're probably going to want to take the crisscross. And honestly, Velocious on this one would be the best perk. Now, I have this set up for the crew or the destroyer that just came out. But you could do Velocious because this ship is a little on the slower side, or you could get your reload time down a little bit with it. And you could go with reaching out XXL. So if you were going to go that route and then go fully packed. But if you have Enrique Hernandez, you got to use him because he is just. This build is amazing with when you put Enrique Hernandez if you have that commander. So his base perk is main battery range and secondary range. And I put for inspirations Von Hipper for secondary, the secondary boost, and Haruna. If you do not have Haruna, some of you won't. There's a German battleship with a commander called Hans Geisler that has a secondary reload. And I actually do highly recommend that for this ship if you do not have Haruna. With that being said, we do Flammable Cannoneer, Porcupine, Marksmanship, and properly meticulous for the secondary battery reload time. Now, for your legendary perk, you could do some stuff, but honestly, the secondary interest is so good that I would definitely recommend it. There's not a lot of negatives about this ship in this build. So we will go to upgrades. Uh, a secondary firing range is almost a must on this ship if you really want to build it for its main guns, although it does have respectable main guns. And for here, just this is just up to play style and how you play. Propulsion mod 2 or steering gears mod 2 is very good options. I like to dodge torpedoes as always with rudder shift, so that's what I took. And I took. You could go with either one of these perks, and really, they're decent. But because you kind of get close in, I do try to use the better guaranteed acquisition of ships, which is 50%, which takes it. It makes the guaranteed range a little bit closer, so you can see people a little bit better, and the torpedo detectability range. Now, you 100% can take concealment mod because the incoming fire dispersion is going to be helpful as well. These are very close to me. It took me a lot to pick between these two, and that detectability can kind of help. It's a battleship. You're not sneaking up on a dead horse or a dead moose, in an open ocean. So incoming fire dispersion would help because you're going to get focused on this. So either one of them is good. And for this one, the secondary battery mod 3 is the way to go. If you have an epic, you can throw that on there as well, like I did. As I play this ship more and more, I like it more and more, even for reasons I didn't suspect. So, with that, your loadouts, you don't have HE on this thing, which for me is perfect. because I almost never use HE in battleships whatsoever. You have 4 secondary boosters with that extra legendary one you get from his legendary perk, 3 heals. Um, and for your specs, 60,000 health. It's not a ton, but again, it's respectable. Um, but where this thing really shines is we'll talk about it real quickly. Is on your main battery. These guns, even though they're 18-2, they're pretty decent range for a secondary ship, and they're decent. Like the 180 turn time is pretty good for a battleship at 30 seconds. And these aren't the best guns, but they're way better than I think they get credit for. And you'll see in our match that I show, you'll see these things in action. Now, the secondaries, you have 10 of the 5-inch guns. So it's basically like you have a light cruiser firing at 12.4 on your secondaries. Now, I think if I had my Enrique Hernandez fully maxed, I think you can get to 12.5, but this is pretty close to about as max as you're going to get. And you can see, so that's like that the 5-inch guns are almost like having a whole another light cruiser on your ship. But what we're really going to talk about are the 9-inch guns on the right hand side. These things do a lot of damage. And being that you have 16 9-inch guns, you got 8 hanging off each side. It's kind of like carrying around 2 heavy cruisers. So this ship, when played properly, is kind of like 4 ships in one: a light cruiser, 2 heavy cruisers, and a battleship. And it plays like it when you get a feel for this ship. This is the only secondary ship I currently feel that does a lot of damage with secondaries. It feels like most of the time in secondary builds, it's more about fire damage. When these 9 inches hanging off the side of this thing hit something, they know it. You'll see it in the match. AA defense, while it has a lot of AA guns, they're not the greatest. They're not terrible, but they're not as good as you would assume with all that AA on there. Maneuverability, this is kind of the downfall of this ship. At 2.7, 25 knots is definitely below average. And that is the one knock on this ship, I would say, is that you really don't want to put yourself too far out of the fight, which is secondary ship. You don't want to do that in general, but you don't have a ton of speed. The rudder shift is pretty good on it in concealment because we have the other, we don't have the detectability perk on is 14.3. So dead mooses are even going to be able to see you coming. Everything's going to see you come. And honestly, sometimes there's nothing they can do about it. We'll go over to the armor. It's got decent armor. It's not... nothing to me stands out too much. It does have turtleback, which does help it a little bit, but I would not rely on it. But again, pretty decent ship. The Citadel is way down there, so it's pretty hard to Citadel you. I think a lot of times in this, it's more about getting hit in torpedoes. But anyway, let's get to the match here, guys. As we go ahead and check the other ships and start this battle, it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide with my opinions on how to play and build this ship to help people who need help. This is not for people who think they already know everything about the game. There isn't just one way to play or build any ship. Also, I am just a above average player, not a perfect player. I make mistakes. You're gonna see some in the game. I'm sure of it. Also, I slaughter beautiful languages as good as anyone. It's almost an art form how great I am at wrecking languages. So prepare yourselves. Now, we are on North, and we're going to be bottom tier, but this game is a really solid showcase of this ship, in my opinion. Especially on the main guns, you're going to be surprised on how decent the main guns are if you're paying attention. Now, my first few salvos, not ideal. So what I'm doing at first, and I'm trying to get up to the cap without getting too much attention on me. Now, when I first got this ship, I just blindly rushed into the middle, and that's all I did. And it's a terrible play. You want to be smart about when you're going in so you're not getting murked. So I was spotted for a second, and I know that their destroyer, there's only one, spots into the middle. So I'm a little bit relaxed about it at the beginning. I didn't want to shoot till I was really spotted. And I'm keeping an eye on Vladdy. Because Vladdy, while I get in, if I'm not smart, Vladdy can really punish me with the good AP. So we are going in, and we're trying to get undetected. We're trying not to get the focus on us too much. And I want to get these caps. Now, I was really worried about this Salem, and I think it's a Prince Eugen. But they turned out to be pretty good players. I was really worried that they were going to just rush in and die. And they turned out to be very good players. In fact, us three basically own the entire match, as you're going to see. Now, I'm trying to go in, but you can see I'm slowing down. I am not trying to take on that whole team. If I round that corner, I'm going to be dead by a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to come in, just take my time. I noticed that the team, no, we're not getting a ton of spotting, so I want to move up a little bit. Then this Heisen goes broadside, and you're going to see here now where I start to use my main guns a lot. Now, I do have my secondaries going, and you can see when them things hit, they actually do a fair amount of damage. But I want to get rid of this Heisen, get him out of the cap, so we can work on it. And you can see, again, not too bad, getting damage on them. Now, I know there's a few other ships back here, and I'm starting to push up because now I want to save what I think is my Salem from dying. So that's why I really tried helping. I thought he was just going to push and die, or just get murdered there, or is that the Prince Eugen? But anyway, now you'll see that I start to use these main guns. And that was 6 shots, or 6 shells downrange right there. I only get 2 hits that time, but you will see that these come in to a pretty good play. And you don't just have to rush in with this ship. You can be smart, limit who shoots you, make sure you don't have terrible angles on it. And I'm trying to get that Tulsa, because I feel like I'm really worried about that cruiser that's up there. That most times when you see that, the cruiser is going to die. But you can see I shoot 10 off, 2 10 shells off, and you can see we get 8 of the 10 shells to hit on an Edgier, and he's not going to be around very long. But you're going to see now here, we're going to have our mines come up, and he's going to be a little bit annoying. So that was a Prince Eugen that pushed up, and I was worried that thing was going to die, but he held his own. And him and this Salem with me, we're going to kind of own the entirety of this map as this match goes on. You can see I already have 100,000 damage with the secondaries and the main guns. And it's not like I've been real close other than the Hism. Now this mine's main, however you want to pronounce it, I know that he's going to kite. So I'm really not too focused about him. He just happens to be the closest guy here. I'm trying to get a flank. We have a battleship below me that's going to work that way, is working his way back over to C. I want to do it from this side and get some crossfire. And I don't like being in the same exact spots as my teammates. And you can see we're going to take a couple shots at the mines, but I'm not going to chase somebody kiting. Kiting only works if you chase them. So I'm worried about this Vladdy, because the Prince Eugen here, he gets lucky in a few spots. I mean, he's a decent player. Oh, Salem. But these 2 cruisers go a little bit broadside, and this whole match, I'm like super worried that they're going to get they're gonna get murked at any time, because uh, they definitely are decent at they're definitely decent players though, and I just at the time it looked like these were pretty poor moves going broadsides and stuff. But anyway, Vladdy's out there, and you can see again, even with 4 shells, we hit 3 of them, and one's a citadel. Ian, these main guns on this ship are no joke. The secondaries obviously are some of the best in the entirety of the game, but I think what people don't understand about this ship is that the main guns are actually very good. As you can see, we have 130 some thousand damage. Now, I expected that means as I quickly look at him and then quickly look away, I'm thinking he's going to think, oh, nobody, he's probably not going to be paying attention too much, and he wasn't. As we got 4 overpins on, I think, 6 shells that go down range to him. So again, on a mines, that's pretty darn good. Pretty hard ship to hit at range, as he keeps doubling fire me. Now, I'm not trying to kite this guy at all. I know I'm spotted right now, so I'm throwing shells down and I'm trying to disengage with this. If you want to lose a battle, you can chase the mines if you want. That's a terrible thing to do, is chase ones. I'm trying to kind of break contact here with him. I'm thinking, oh, I get behind this island, he's far enough away, I'll put out my fire and he won't see me. But you can see we set it down at 16 kilometers, but there's something out spotting me here. As you can see, we're still spotted at 14.3, so the Fletcher has to be somewhat nearby. So the last thing I want to do is stop moving. And then right as I start going again, I get detected, or I'll go dark, which is fine. I just don't want this mines focusing, because he can melt me really quick. Mines is a very good ship in this game. So I see him start to turn. I do go ahead and shoot. Now, normally I would go get that angle on, I think that's a Richelieu out there. But with this mines out here, I would prefer to just go in. It's an even battle right now. Anybody could still win this. So I don't want to chase damage and lose this. You can lose a game by trying to chase people. And so you can see I just disengage, I go into the middle, and but normally if that mines wasn't there, I would try to get another angle on that Richelieu and see. But for the time being, they have to come to us if they want to win. So that's what I'm doing. Now again, them cruises over there, I'm thinking, that the Prince Eugen and the Salem, I'm like, get back, guys. We have this in the bag. There's no reason to lose this match. But I will say they hold their own. Even though they, Prince Eugen right now could get, murked by that Richelieu. Or he's getting to a place where he could get in trouble with the Richelieu. He does play pretty well. And somebody hits this Richelieu, but I'm so worried about this cruise is just going in and dying, and then we have no way to counter the Fletcher on the enemy team. So this part of the match, I'm just really trying not to lose. And because they're moving up, I kind of want to give them support, because they might not die if I go with them, but these guys hold their own. These were 2 very good teammates, but they sure gave me kind of a heart attack in this, because I kept thinking they were just gonna get killed in this thing. But they were very good teammates. As you can see, we go down, we bounce 2 shells there. He wasn't at a very good angle. Now I'm not so worried, but you can see that I didn't charge that mines, and that Bismarck did. And you're going to see how long it takes that Bismarck to kill that mains. I mean, you can see we've left that mains for a while. That Bismarck on our team has been chasing him. Not a great idea. I will say, though, he does get the Fletcher spotted. And with our 2 cruiser players over here, that our team here, our flank that has moved all the way over to sea, we've done... my cruiser players over my teammates are going to eliminate this guy pretty quick. And I do main guns, I get pretty good shot on him. I get 2 overpins on him, at 8 kilometers, which is not bad. at all. And you can see that means that Mines is still alive out there, and that Bismarck has a heck of a time with that Bismarck or that Mainz, and that's why I didn't chase him, because if our two cruisers died, all of a sudden we're in a place to lose this match, and I'm not a person that likes to charge in and lose it. You see, only 89 secondary hits, and it still did a lot for the team. And you'll see on the team results, the Mines and the Prince Eugen up there with me as well. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you next time, folks. Have a good one.